don't know, ever. Joining me tonight on the show is the amazing Super Astro Pub, Mr. Pops. And also with him, Toy Grubbin. I love it. And special guest, you know him, you love him, all the way, super late night from the UK. We got Moist Noodle and JR. We're gonna get this thing started. After I found the button.
It might help if you unmute it.
I had to hit buttons and stuff. If I had my Go XLR, we'd be perfect. That'd be awesome sauce. But we'll work on adjusting Toy stuff. Toy had a mechanical malfunction right before the whole stream went live, but I wasn't gonna miss this one opportunity to maybe start on time, so we did it anyway. We're doing it live, people. We're doing it live. So welcome everybody, guys. A special thank you to Moist and JR for getting up in the crack butt of morning to come join us too. That's awesome, man.
2 in the morning.
2 in the morning after working all day. Nice. All right, so we're gonna go around the room. We're gonna find out how everybody's week's been, what's been going on with them and their channels, and all that stuff. And we're gonna start with Moist and JR because obviously you guys have been busy doing a bunch of stuff you probably can't talk about to us. But how's your week been overall? And what have you been up to? And how's the stream been? Yeah, he's in Scotland now.
That's something. That was an adventure. I actually feel more sorry for JR and Callie, who actually drove all the way down from Scotland, then helped me load the van, and then drove all the way back in one trip. Yeah.
That's hardcore moving there.
That's pretty hardcore.
We were impressed it all fit in the van, to be honest.
Let's put it this way. When I was leaving the house, I was just running around, like, grabbing the last dregs of things that I owned, like books and stuff, and we were trying to work out where in the car or the van we could actually put these things. It was like, Callie did such a great job of actually packing the van. There's a great picture of it on Twitter, actually.
Yeah, no, it was impressive. It was impressive.
But yeah, I've as well as doing my evening streams, now I have a little bit more time. I'm doing morning streams as well. I'm actually playing through Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch at the moment in the mornings, which is a lot of fun.
What's the matter? What's the matter? You don't have phones? I had to make the joke. You said Diablo,
okay? Wow.
And other than that, it's just been cracking on as normal at JRDF. How about you?
I've been cracking on with JRDF as well. Nice. On loads of stuff I can't tell you about. Well, that was boring. No, it's good. We've got some projects in the works, which is good, as well as our sort of other products. See Test Squadron box behind us. So yeah, no, it's been a good week actually. We've got you settled in. I said the cats and the dog are slowly getting slightly better with each other.
Just before we started the stream, I discovered one of the cats sat on the stairs with Chewie sat next to her, which is incredible.
That is the first time it's happened. Yeah, that's a big deal, which probably means that Chewie's learned that cats hurt.
The cats are in charge.
So yeah, so that's good. So yeah, no, it's been a good week. It's been a good week. I don't know whether we'll get a weekend off, but it's
better to be working though, right? I mean, you know, if you don't have anything to do, it means stuff is not progressing. So that's always good.
Well, that's true. To be honest, I've been building this house for about 10 years now. So and it's only about.
We're actually working on the house on the weekend.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. All right, to-do list then. No.
Always busy then. Always projects to do. So that's good. That's good. Well, I'm glad you guys had both week. Let's talk to Mr. Toy. Toy, how have you been, other than having stream machine issues tonight? I mean,
I was gonna say until tonight it's been perfect.
Yep.
But I don't know what happened. I was talking to you guys, my audio went out. I rebooted real quick, and now my monitor won't turn on. So
I'm sure you'll get it panned out after the fact. You know,
yeah.
Just take a little time stuff. Other than that, like, what's been going on this week with you?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I've been streaming Star Citizen a ton.
Yep.
Been getting in and having fun with the Cyclone RC. Oh my god, that is like the best vehicle in the game.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, because it's got all the boost and all the good racing and all that stuff. So
yeah.
Nice, nice. Awesome, opossum.
That's about it. Just streaming away.
Cool. Well, that's good. It's good to be streaming. When there's content and there's stuff to be talking about with everybody and doing stuff, it's always a good life to have. So awesome. Well, last but not least, let's talk to Mr. Astropub. Paul, how's your week been? Tell us about your week, and then tell us about this awesome thing that we're doing for the next 7 days.
Well, my week has been this thing.
I figured all the prep and all that stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, there has been many preps, and I was like, I asked Haskaha and Utho to help me out with the commercial that was made, and it was great because they won the beta contest recently, so they had that promotion, but literally, I asked them last week about it, and they were just like, you want us to make the commercial with this? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So I banged out a script, and I did the audio recordings for that commercial, and then Utho took it with his music, and then they just ran with it. I was like, this is kind of what I was thinking. They're like, I like that, we're just gonna do that. So it worked pretty well.
Yeah, that's really good.
And other than that, I've been mostly trying to catch up since CitizenCon, because CitizenCon kind of wrecked me in terms of like, okay, first off, I got the plague from Darjanator. So
yeah.
So that plague spread apparently everywhere. And then Cam got the plague.
Oh wow.
So I was taking care of her. And so this last October had been mostly good, but like every once in a while it's like, yeah, I need a break. So this week it's been
British people visit. I'm just saying.
You bring the plague. It's what you do.
I know.
My
kids just got back from a school carnival where all the children from all the grades come there and they all touch all the toys and do all. And I said, showers now! Like immediately go home. Yeah. They need to like tease everything because I know what happens every time they go. It's like, oh, somebody gets sick. I'm like, nope, not this year. We're doing this thing right.
So I've been trying to diversify out a little bit other than Star Citizen. On Mondays I play Mech Warrior, and on Tuesdays I do single player, and I'm getting prepared for X4, which is coming at the end of the year.
Cool.
Or end of the month. So yeah, so I'm doing some other stuff and Star Citizen. I'm really liking the VoIP if I can get it to work. Yes. It works now 50% of the time when I try it.
Yes,
and it's fantastic.
It's awesome. It's really awesome.
I never got it to work.
Really?
Never.
It's working now with the latest patches. So.
I've heard that it's working right now.
Yeah.
I've heard for the
I was playing with it last night. It was really fun.
Yeah.
The only problem with it is whether you have your helmet on or off, you sound the same. It sounds like you have your helmet on.
Yeah, it doesn't have like the first person type of sound to it right now.
I used to. When you were right next to someone, you'd have first person, but as you got further away, it'd change it to a helmet, even if you didn't have the helmet on. So.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Well, it goes that way. Well, tell us a little bit about the 7 Days of Valor and what the whole deal's about and all that stuff.
All right. So first off, 7 Days of Valor is a fictional in-fiction holiday. Being the lore guy, in terms of like community stuff at this point, I know there's lots of other lore folks, but a lot of people have been turning to me for that kind of stuff. So I've done a lot of research, and I found out earlier this year that pretty much all the wars that the UEE had fought started in November. So I figured, it being a big month for wars, that they might have some sort of Remembrance Day, similar to Armistice Day around the world, and in the US it's called the Veterans Day. And because I usually worked with StackUp around Veterans Day, I thought, you know what, if I brought the Star Citizen community together and made this kind of in-fiction universe in-fiction holiday where people are told to just, participate and help give back to the community, sort of thing, that we could we could kind of tie that into a fundraiser for StackUp and for veterans. And for those of you guys who don't know what StackUp is a veterans charity that is in NATO countries, US, Canada, all the NATO countries, and also in Australia and New Zealand. They have StackUp Stacks, which are these local groups all over the world, and they're groups of veterans and active duty military personnel. And what they do is military folks, just like normal folks, have been using video games to help unwind, to like de-stress after stressful situations. It's a way to bring normalcy in their lives. And what StackUp was founded by veterans as a way to try to get more veterans who were disabled, who have no longer, who were gamers and they had a hard time keep playing because they became they lost use of their hands or the legs or something like that. So it makes it easier for them to kind of get back into gaming. They also do things for veterans to get them to go to gaming events. They get veterans and active duty service people, consoles and games and other things that they need. And they even have a mental health group called the Stop Group, yes. Which is designed to help with soldiers and veterans who are suffering from PTSD and other like adjustment issues. And for anyone who doesn't really know, like one of the hardest adjustments that soldiers have to go through is when they leave the service and come back to civilian life, because it's like going from Earth to a completely different planet. It's a lot of cultural adjustments and a lot of other jarring realities. And so video games have become a really good way of kind of easing that entrance back in. So I've been supporting StackUp for several years, and I wanted to kind of bring the community on and help that out as well. So,
yep, absolutely.
And luckily, lots of folks have enjoyed it.
Oh, dude.
And then we've actually we've raised as a team $1,175. So our next goal is 3,000.
And that was community is just mind blowing.
And I'm telling you, and today is day one, and it's not even over
day
yet.
One.
And the original goal Paul had set was $1,000 just to kind of dip in the waters. And since then, you got to push the goal up and stuff and see what we can do. Because we knew that we'd grow past that. And Paul was telling me before the show, he's like, he knew. He just wanted to see where we'd kind of get in the waters and stuff. And I think it's been great. We've had such an outpouring of support for this whole thing, and I want to thank Paul personally for organizing this, because it's amazing. So he deserves all the credit for organizing it. But anybody that wants to help out or anything, just you can reach out to Paul, and he can get you all organized if you're a content creator and get you involved. There's still plenty of days to do it, because we're doing it all the way.
And if you want to, and if you just want to like talk about it and tell your friends, that works great too. Just trying to spread it out there. And I do want to thank Moist, because Moist was the one with his fundraiser that got everyone together in the community. That made me believe that could actually work. We could actually get the community together for one big goal. So thank you, Moist, for keeping that.
It makes it a lot easier when the community is as generous as it is.
Absolutely. So it's good to use that power for goodness.
It amazed me with yours that there were so many people in the US that support. And bear in mind, Moist did it for Special Effect, which is very much just a UK-based charity. But everyone in the Star Citizen community came out and supported that. They didn't care that it was only a UK thing. It's phenomenal, really is.
Yeah. But and that's a lot of that's attributed because we're gamers, and gaming is a global thing, right? We all play together with people all over the world. And so when we can engage that power of gaming and help other people out, same reason I get involved heavily with Child's Play locally here, because they do a lot of stuff for kids that are sick and in beds and stuff like that, and they can't get out and do anything fun outside. So they kind of engage those people. And I actually found StackUp through Child's Play, and there were some other charities I found through them too that we help out locally here in Kansas City and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see like all the good gaming does. And if you ever get to go to a TwitchCon, anybody out there and stuff, you can go and they'll have a whole charity section of all these great charities and stuff related to gaming. They're helping all sorts of different causes and stuff. So I encourage you to go and talk to those guys, because there's lots of great stuff happening there. So awesome.
Yeah. And I was gonna say another big reason why I chose StackUp is because there are a lot of veterans and, Army brats, Navy brats, sons and daughters of veterans, Marine, who are in this community. There's a lot of military and former military in this community.
Yeah.
And in many ways, it feels like I'm helping the people I already know, and it's important. So.
I must. When we were coming back from Austin, on the sort of there are military people, a lot of military people in Star Citizen. We were coming through, leaving Austin Airport, and Moist and your group that were leaving went, and then we were chatting to this guy at a table, and he said, "Who are all you guys? Because you're all dressed like military, but you're clearly not military." And it was just that. It was like, yeah, we're gamers. Like, that explains it. You know, everyone was in squadron stuff, and it was just like, yeah, we're the military that's let itself go.
Yeah, the military that never was.
Yeah, but the whole airport was full of us. It was just like, it just tickled me. That was just amusing. I know there are a lot of genuine vets, but when you see us all as a group, we ain't military.
No. Not normally. At least it's not passing for one. If we were, we'd be like the C or D team. It's like we kind of, we'll help whatever we can do. We'd make the pancakes or something. But
we'd be like Dad's Army. But
the fourth string home guard, the National Guard guys that just sit in the back and like they just stack boxes all day. You just stay back and stretch. We'll call you in like maybe.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we just wanted to express that. And guys, if you are in the stream and you do feel like donating or something, you can either go directly over to the pages there. We do have the list over there for my link. And this is my first stream so far, but we're going to dedicate every stream I do from now to next Friday is going to be focused on that. So I appreciate the guys who are subbing and all that stuff, but the focus is this. And the only alerts that will go off on the channel during the show or during anything for like the next week or so are going to be donations for StackUp, and that's all we're doing for alerts. So that way we can pay focus to that. And then after that, we'll go back to the regular stuff, but that's going to be the focus. So Star Citizen time. Let's talk about Star Citizen and all the goodness. And we'll start out with our little video preview we like to do here. And we'll go through the Calling All Devs video, as long as everything holds together well. It makes me nervous when I see circly stuff happen on XSplit sometimes. I'm like, oh no, do it right. So Calling All Devs. I love the fact that Jared did this all in Beard because it was really good.
He's been playing too much Red Dead Redemption 2. That's the problem. If you've been following his Twitter feed, every other post is Red Dead Redemption.
There is no way to do too much Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm going to tell you right now. As a player of Red Dead Redemption, I literally bought an extra console so I wouldn't fight with the kids.
Just so we can play it?
Just so I can play that game. Because, it's Red Dead. It's amazing. It's like, and some people say it's boring. Then whatever, but I think it's.
I just love how Disco has a T-shirt that says Disco.
It says Disco.
I reckon he has a wardrobe just full of T-shirts branded Disco.
Guess what my horse name is, Moist. Guess what the name of my horse is.
Oh, please tell me it's Noodle.
No, it's Disco. It's Disco. It's perfect. It's a female horse called Disco. It's perfect because then I can go, Disco, come here. It's amazing. Phantom, thank you so much, man, for helping support StackUp, buddy. It's good. All right. This was a big question as far as size. It would basically they asked, it says, with the advent of the system degradation in 3.3x, will we be getting some kind of maintenance mechanic to either slow down or partly repair the wear to component or indicate how much time the part has left? And I thought it was a pretty interesting question. We all assumed yes would be the answer. But it was a good question because we haven't really heard any specifics on this as far as like what the cues were going to be. As far as I don't know what you guys have heard. The main things I remember was there's going to be some sort of visual. You can tell when something's happening before it breaks, like there's wear, maintenance, things that. I don't know about anything graphically or gauge-wise. Paul, have you heard anything specifically on the wear and tear of components and how we'll be able to tell that?
Yeah, it's actually on your HUD right now. On your MFDs, you can actually cycle through your MFDs and look at the components, and they actually have a health bar on them. So you can actually see them tick down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I can't remember exactly what he said, but I always thought it would be a bit weird if they implemented this without us being able to repair the stuff. But I assume that we're just going to be able to land and repair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can land and repair the components.
I would think that I'm hoping as obviously not tier 0 repair, but I'm hoping what they'll have is some way, much like you deal with your car. Say you have a leaky motor, right, or you got oil and something like that. You can do some stuff to help get your car to the next rest stop. If you're in deep space or something, you can't always just go to a repair shop and all that. Maybe there's ways internally in your ship you can kind of hold things together. Yourself, like do some moderate repairs or extend the life of something before you can go to a proper shop. I'm hoping they implement.
So I love the idea of if you're in a fighter, because obviously, I think a lot of people assume that if you have a fighter, you're going to be able to travel everywhere and do everything, which I really don't think is going to be the case.
Yeah.
But one thing I really love the idea of is like if you do have a breakdown in your fighter, that somewhere you have a little case with a multi-tool, so you can actually get out and try to do some patch-up work.
Well, it's the same with, but there's going to be one of the advantages of the larger ships in that you can walk around inside, pull the components, and hand repair them, and then put them back to keep them limping on. That's got to be one of the advantages of a bigger ship over a fighter. In that with a fighter, you literally have to stop and get out.
And the other thing was that that's the other that also determined the differences between brand. Like they've said in the past that Drake doesn't have any internal access to its components. You have to EVA outside of the Cutlass, pull the part out of the Cutlass, like a hatch outside the Cutlass, to repair it. So there are some parts of like some ships which will just you have to go EVA anyways.
Yeah, I would assume, especially fighters and stuff, like there's not really a lot of room in the interior, probably like one spot to like do any internal repairs. Everything's going to be exterior on those, so you're gonna.
Is that true for the Kraken as well? Because that'd be hilarious. Just if you're behind the wash of a Kraken, it's just a sea of components floating up as they slowly strip away. The easiest ships to follow in the verse. You just follow the debris of all their shit falling off. It'd be phenomenal.
Just have a reclaimer bringing up the rear and it's just eating everything.
Just a little vulture, just following them everywhere.
That would be good.
Bring them up.
That would be good. Yeah, I think you have a great point, Jar, with that. I think the thing I'm excited about, especially on the capital ships and stuff when it comes to repair, is emergency repairs. Like, not even taking the component out. It's like you're taking hits. You got emergency crews running deck to deck around the ship trying to just patch things together to hold it together as long as you can during the fight. You're sitting there, much like a submarine, like when they're taking damage and they're leaking and you're putting braces up. And you're like, oh, I hope it holds together. So I think that's going to be really exciting. It's going to... I think being part of the emergency crew is going to be like the most boring job 99% of the time, and 1% of the time it's going to be like you're the hero, or that's it.
It sounds like on Drake, you're just going to be EVAing with this massive roll of Drake gaffer tape, just going around the ship, just wrap it end to end.
What do you mean? Like that is what Drake is made of. It's just giant bits of balsa wood and gaffer tape. That's all it is.
Keep sticking more bits on, it'll be fine.
Yeah,
you won't even call engineering. You'll have a crew of call them gaffers. That's all they're called. That's all they do. That's all they do is tape it up. It's gonna be good.
And they'll be just human beings getting blown off the outside like droids as they left the boom. Just
crazy.
It'd be amazing.
All right. Next question on there was with the Merlin rework in 3.5. I don't remember that, but whatever. And the Archimedes in 3.6. Will their docking functionality be part of this?
I'm just taking my glasses off so I can face palm, because I don't know how everyone else felt, but I thought this was a bit of a waste of a question.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think anybody is expecting any docking functionality for a long time.
Maybe in 1.7 after the launch and everything like that.
I think Disco gets really happy when people ask questions like this because he knows there's no answer.
Yeah, but they needed, and they've been saying it a lot, but they needed the object container streaming before they could even start docking. And now that object container streaming is in, people are like kind of expecting docking now, but it's still going to be a while. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we are going to need it before we can even see ships like, what's the earliest hull that hull C. You know, because there are certain ships that can only dock; they don't have landing gear.
Yeah, they only have airlocks to merge into, at least port at stations. I mean, you're not going to open up well, I guess they could open up the area and you have to EVA out. It'd be so impractical, though. But yeah,
the C can land, the D can't. D and E don't have landing gear. But the issue with the sea is it can only land when it's got no cargo.
Yeah.
So you still need to be able to dock to a station to offload cargo.
Yeah. And driving a sea around with no cargo in it seems ridiculous. Like, what's the point?
To be honest, I don't really think the whole folding thing is necessary.
We can't do anything with our starfarers or our reclaimers at this point, so it's all ridiculous.
Yeah, that's very true. But at some point, we're expecting these things to come online, right? I mean, that's we have to hit that barrier where the starfarer is going to. I assume it's going to be a cargo ship. Or a starfarer will be the first ones to get some sort of functionality that's been absent of them up to now, right?
Yeah,
because a lot of the cargo ships we can do something like that
right now, which is something.
Yeah, which is something. But is it practical to really? I mean, you know, when there's other ships that suit that role more, it's like everybody wants to use a starfarer to process fuel. I mean, this
is my thing. This is something I constantly have to be reminding Mr. Hull E over here, is that the day that Star Citizen goes live does not mean that you can just suddenly fill a Hull E. It's going to be more practical to start with something like a Cutlass Black, then work up to a Caterpillar, and then sort of work up to that sort of shit.
Well, I would say
stop being a moist noodle. You need to just you let the man fill up his whole E with rotten space potatoes and see where he can trade them.
Anybody want some rice?
I honestly believe that you'll be able to fill up a whole E right off the bat pretty easily because all the other people wrecking and losing their cargo. You just have to do it from a different aspect. You don't buy the cargo. You just collect everybody else's and attach it to your whole E.
Legitimate salvage.
There you
Legitimate
go.
Salvage.
Salvaging, and then you have storage, and there you go.
The thing I want most from my Hully, and obviously this is a huge thing for COG, I want to get sucked into the gravity of a planet and watch it go through the atmosphere and all the cargo be ripped off as it goes before it splits in half and crashes on the planet.
You're like the few. The only reason the few wants the javelin so he can crash it into planets and see what happens.
I just want that really cinematic thing of all the cargo being stripped off it. I think it'll be absolutely amazing.
I'm wondering if you'll be able to. This is something else I thought of the other day with the whole E. I don't have one, but I wonder if you'll be able to choose exactly where you load each container at some point. You know what I mean? Like, will it because you could actually spell things out in the side, you know, because it's got enough little rings there. You could like write words and draw pictures in boxes and do all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they've really got to that point yet of working out how that's all going to work. Yeah. I think my biggest hope for it, as soon as they announced they were getting rid of the landing gear on the D and the E, it was a case of, ooh, what's going to be there instead? Do I get a little hangar? Because that's the thing. It's like with these big ships that can't land, you kind of need a captain's yacht of some sort, or just be able to park an Argo in it or something.
Can you imagine, right? Yeah. A Phoenix variant of the Argo, just this grand.
It doesn't need to be grand. It could just be a misc, but I just like I want something to leave my Hull E in.
I think it'd be really cool if you could, on the Hull E and some of these other large cargo ships, you could actually mount an Argo to it. You know, not necessarily dock it in a hangar, but be much like the snub fighters are on the Connies and stuff like that. Some way to merge it on there where it's like you could just use that one type of ship. So it would just merge.
But saying that, I do want an Argo equivalent that can hold one of the boxes that's on the Hully.
Yeah.
I really hope they do something like that.
I know. I assume they'll make another ship for it.
Let's think about Grimhex, for example, right? There's no way you can get a Hull E to Grimhex. There's too many rocks. So having like this little cargo carrier thing that you can go and grab one of the containers and then take the container to Grimhex.
Do you really think a Hull E would survive going to Grimhex anyway, considering that it probably won't be lawful space around it? It's like bringing a turkey outside, you know, the homeless shelter and setting up a table. It's like, I'm just going to eat this here. I think you'd probably get mobbed. I don't think that's going to work.
I'm genuinely hoping that my Hully, in a way, protects me against pirates, because they go, oh, I don't need that much ore. And it's just like, if I did take this guy out, what am I going to do with it?
Something you can do with Elite Dangerous is you can jettison some of your cargo to get rid of pirates. just enough.
And that goes back to the aspect of if it would be cool where you could store it on a hull E. You could choose what rungs you could choose. Look at your manifest. You're being chased, and you can choose which ones to eject and drop off. Like I'm just going to jettison this one. Yeah.
And but imagine they see the container coming off. There you go. Oh, and then they realize when it gets close to them, it's 4 times the size of their ship, and just pancakes them as it falls off the ship.
Yeah,
I'm kind of hoping that situation they don't pancake them, but it's so huge they stop and they're just sitting there going, how the hell am I going to get all of this inside my ship?
It's just a pirate grabbing just grabbing boxes one by one and strapping it to their saber.
It looks like a family. It's like a family on holiday trying to put all their stuff in their tiny tiny hatchback. They're just like strapping everything to the roof. Like we'll get there somehow. I'm gonna make this work.
It looks exactly like every car at Walmart on Black Friday around here in Kansas City. It's like, why'd you bring that to buy a TV 65-inch? It just won't fit. It's like, oh, it's craziness. But it's going to be fun, though. It's going to be fun. All right. So next question was, is there a technical reason why ships cannot have stronger, narrowly focused, if needed, headlights for seeing asteroids and the ground before running into them?
This question, the lights, I swear to God. What is it with people's fascination with lights? Please. Like, I get it.
No.
I get it. Chewy.
We need headphones. We need headphones.
Go away. Yeah. So, like, I get that people want to be able to see asteroids, and I get that the light implementation at the moment is insane. Like, a Gladius, right, just lights up like 20 football fields. But we need something else. We need LiDAR or something to tell us if we're going to smash into the ground, not lights.
Passive scanners need to move away from being just about for ships and also being for debris or other things.
Absolutely. So. I'd say on all ships they should have, much like all SUVs in the States have to have a backup camera now. You need some sort of radar, right, around when you're in space.
Yeah,
but I think
I really hope it's that kind of distance, and they go beep 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 beep.
Yeah,
crash.
There you go.
Lights, 20 feet range.
Floodlights and the powerful lights, in my opinion, should only be for illuminating on the ground. I don't. Yes. It's like there's literally no point to having forward headlights in space of that magnitude. It's only for docking, for short distance visual range. You just don't need floodlights out there. It's like, oh, turn my brights on so nobody else can see anything. Doesn't make any sense.
With the exception that I personally want a massive floodlight on each of my hammerhead turrets.
There you go.
That would be amazing. That would actually be amazing. Can you imagine a hammerhead coming over you and all of the lights converging on you?
Well, I actually argue that you should be able to either add or swap out some of the guns for spotlights, because that would make sense as to like why you have a bottom. What you can do with the bottom turret on a well, it's not the Phoenix. I'm trying to think of the Connie variant. That's the Exploration, the Aquila, whatever you want to say. Aquila, you could swap out the guns for sort of spotlights, and you can actually use it for like exploration on planets.
I'll support your idea as long as we can also replace said gun for a harpoon, because that would be amazing. Harpoon the side of
from hell's heart I stab at thee.
Yeah. You could like harpoon him with like 2 of the side guns, and the rest of the guns are just chewing holes into it. It's like, you go nowhere.
The javelin, can we swap the torpedo tubes for harpoons?
that would be a good way of stealing the whole E's cargo.
Yeah,
just harpoon.
I think the harpoon size of the javelin would strip down the entire fuselage of the whole E, and you just have cargo floating everywhere. I don't think you could actually harpoon the whole E. It's not big enough. It's like, oh well, that was overkill. So
I think the hull E will be the length of the javelin there, but
it will. But I think it's all cargo, and it's got like a small fuselage in the middle. I think that, because I don't even remember what size torpedoes are there. They're size 12 on a Jav.
Yeah,
they'd be firing like these huge cylinders that, like, I don't think so.
go back and look at the video where you see the front of the Javelin and just take a look at those torpedo tubes, and then just imagine comparing it to like a caterpillar.
I was gonna say they remind me of like there's a dude in the middle of it, like in the scene in Star Wars when the Death Star's firing off, and he's like operating the laser, one of the laser tubes there, and they're like big as a subway tunnel, going through there. It'd be crazy. So basically the answer is they gave the technical reason. It has to do with a lot of lighting aspects, a lot of different things there, but again, they're working on lights, but they haven't really found the happy medium of where they want to be. I think was the basis of their answer. But yeah, I think most of the practical people in the community, we want lights that work on the ground. We don't vision there's a way to make lights bright enough for an idiot who's flying at like the fastest you can through an asteroid field to see them up ahead. It's much like if you were taking a Tesla or a Lamborghini through around here in Kansas City where there's deer and woods. If you're flying doing 200 miles an hour, you cannot see forward far enough to be able to see a deer if he jumps out in front of you. Same thing with asteroids. You need some sort of remote sensing or something. There's
some sort of, quote from Star Wars about asteroid field navigation that comes to mind whenever I hear someone once.
Yeah, something.
Give us like something I'd like to see. Like I don't want to see the same tech in every ship. So for a Cutlass Black, for example, I would just like to have a ping to let us know if there's something ahead. Whereas if you're in an Origin ship, for example, I'd love to have like an AR overlay in your helmet so you can see where asteroids are.
I always thought like that same.
Great ships, you just have to stick your head out the window.
There you go. I think the ping. That's a great point, Moist. I think the ping we use for everything else that's in every ship should just overlay on your canopy, like your HUD. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, oh, I can see these things, and it'll persist for a few seconds. And if you're flying through real quick, you're gonna have to re-ping while you're flying, and that's it. Or I don't know, slow the F down. I mean, it's that's your option, if you can't see, then slow the hell down. I mean, I don't know. Because the whole point is, if you make it too easy on everybody, and most people are flying faster asteroid field to evade another pilot, if everybody can see it perfectly and dodge everything, where's the fun in that? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So, meh. All right. So that was the summary of the long technical reason of headlights.
He talked for a long time.
Well, he did. I mean, I think he felt like he needed some sort of justification in it, and he gave some practical reasons and all that stuff. I'd just be like, my answer would have been like, yeah, we'll do something. There's some reasons why we can't just throw floodlights on the front of the ship, guys. So.
Hey, ask a boring question, get a long, protracted, boring answer. And people stop asking it.
That's the way it works. Absolutely. And then one of my personal favorite answers of questions on this, Mr. Dan Truffin, because he's always got like really thoughtful answers on almost everything. This question, I think, is a rehash, and I think it's a fair question. Those of us who have been around the project a long time, we know the answer because it's been gone over a lot. Tony Z actually made an entire video about like NPCs and remote managing missions and moving around space and all that stuff, and he covered this at length. But I think people still want some sort of practicality of being able to move around the universe while they're at work automatically and stuff like that, and that's just not in the cards as a summary of that, because the question was, and we'll get Toy's response because he's already shaking his head. I know what's going to happen here. Any plans to allow us to move from planet to planet or system to system while we're offline? And the short answer is no. But Toy, go ahead. Give your.
Well, that was my short and long answer.
Yeah.
I mean, they've really said it a billion times that they want this game to be fun, and it's might be boring to be trying to transfer from one place to another, but it's breaking immersion, and they're not about breaking immersion.
Yeah.
Here's like I played World of Warcraft for a long time, and I hate to use World of Warcraft as an example. I apologize, everybody. But one of the things that destroyed World of Warcraft for me was back in vanilla, it felt like a massive world. the moment that they gave us the ability to just teleport everywhere instantly, it suddenly felt really friggin' small.
But isn't there the mechanic in Star Citizen that if I get on your ship and log off in your bed, and then you fly somewhere else, when I log back on, will I not be still in your ship?
Correct.
Where it's moved
Actually,
to?
yeah.
So if you get into an 890 jump, a commercial transport 890 jump at Port Olisar, log off in your cabin quarter bed, and then know what time it's arriving at wherever you want to be, and then log back on, will I not have been transported?
That's it, I'm refunding.
You can do that, but you also bear the risk of if something happens to send transport a person away, you die. And I think the question that's been constantly asked from what I've seen in Spectrum and Reddit is people want to be able to, like, even on the mobile app on their phone, say, hey, I want to move to here, and it just happen in game without them physically having to go down to a ship.
Oh, no.
And that's the problem.
Okay. Here's my compromise with that, and I think I'd like to see CIG do this only because it's a staple in. I'm going to compare another game that no one likes to compare it, but in Elite Dangerous, where in Elite Dangerous you can actually pay to have your ship transported to a different station for you. So that makes it a little bit easier to be able to manage your ship. Now you're paying for your ship to be transported, so you have to wait. There's a timer for it to arrive at the station to be arriving at. And you can still do something. There's no risk, and you could still do something like your character. You can buy a ticket for your character to go onto like a commercial transport. So you have to pay the money, you have to wait the time, and you have to wait for the arrival. And there's still that risk of just random your character got killed in a pirate attack, or transporting your ship, because that would also create an off like a mission, whereas like.
Uh-oh, Paul, we lost you.
We lost audio on you for a second.
Look at that technical face.
Yep.
So don't reboot.
We'll just fill in the audio. It's fine.
Yeah, he can just move his lips, and I'll tell the answer. For
Yeah.
Yeah. Tickets are a terrible idea. They're horrible. I would never use them. So.
Hello.
There he is. We got him back.
Citizen solution, though.
All right.
Yeah. No. So the solution I had was essentially you can move your character or your ships, but you take the risk of your characters or ships blowing up. Like your character doesn't just disappear. Your character turns into an NPC and then boards a player Starliner or another player's ship as a transport duty, and then your ship gets packed up and put into a hull E or whatever, and gets transported to its location. And so you're still taking the risk, but you don't have to, like, if you're going to be organizing an event with a friend, at the end of work, and it takes 4 hours because you're on the wrong side of the solar system or wrong side of the, universe, then taking that 4 hours while you're at work so it gets you to point A and point B while still taking risk and having to pay the money. It seems like it's a convenience that's a good halfway point between insta jumping into people's NPC characters and saying, you're walking the entire way, No,
and I'm okay with that compromise to a point, but I still say I never want it to be something you can do from your phone. I never want it to be something you can initiate out of game. I am perfectly fine if it is, okay, this is a manifest of buses, they're Starliners or whatever. Yeah. And you physically have to take your character down there and you log out and you log them off. Maybe you could board the ship early, but you have a scheduled departure and arrival time. That's what it's going to be. And maybe it stores you there, but you have to adopt that risk. You have to, if some a-hole comes up and he blows up the Starliner, that's it. That's what happened. You deal with that. I'm okay with that. But what I don't want to dive down to is, and what people are getting at in many cases is they want it to be somewhat automated. I'm at work. Joe called me. He wants us to play later and all this stuff. Thank you, Ryan Rhodes, for that amazing donation.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. And so I don't want it to be something that becomes so simplistic that I can just move all these different assets and start to play Sim Citizen in that way. You know what I mean? I'm fine with you boarding a Starliner and going to X, but you have to adopt that risk. And you know how pissed off people will be? Like if I booked a 4-hour trip, I come back home and I realize I died and I still have to do the 4-hour trip anyway. And you know what I mean? So that's going to happen sometimes. So, but yeah, I think there can be some compromises there as long as it doesn't break the immersion of the game in that aspect. Because this is the only, if you have this mechanic in there to where people have to move physically from planet to planet while they're offline or online, that's what's going to allow people to have that job, to have that Starfarer captain job, because you can work it out. If Moist has a Starfarer and we need to move, like, hey, buddy, we're going to log off over in your ship. Could you move us all over there for the op tonight at 8 p.m.? And then that's his thing. And that way he's sweating balls trying to get out to the op because he knows if he blows up, he just killed the entire team. Like, everybody's dead. It's like, not just that. He's like, I get a text. Oh, sorry, everyone died. You
Funny story.
Chewie had to go outside. I walked away for 2 minutes, and yeah, we all died.
Well, I mean, if they do that,
what a fantastic stream that would be, transporting everyone's ship and then everyone else just griefing all the way through.
Please have it on lots of delay if you're going to stream that, you know.
An hour at least.
I look forward to the days where we just have an 890 jump full of streamers and YouTubers, and what happens as a result of that.
And somebody accidentally flashes the location of where we are in space. It's like,
well, see, what's going to happen is that one of the streamers or YouTubers is going to try to turn it into a murder mystery and just start slowly picking off one another.
Yep.
It'll turn into Clue, Star Citizen edition.
It was Colonel Board Gamer in the parlor with a candlestick. Yeah. I can see that for sure. I could definitely see that.
Because I have heard friends who's like Baron once told me, never invite me aboard your 890 jump because I'm just going to kill you until everyone on board and try to take it. Yeah. Like, well, what if you're my friend? He's like, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to kill you and take your spaceship.
Because then what happens? Let's say they go with this offline movement thing where you can log off the ship, which presumably you're going to be able to do that to some degree anyway. Go to your buddy's ship, log off, and do that. What happens if that ship gets captured? What happened? I mean, is that essentially he's holding you hostage? Because they already said they don't want that mechanic in the game. Really, they don't want people to like limit your gameplay. So I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to be kind of weird pirates? You know, sort of. Can you wake up in some sort of like pirate camp somewhere? Yep. Or if it's not the player, I don't know.
Thank you for the donation. Appreciate it.
Okay, I will say what Tony and Chris have said, which is and I think they even said this at CitizenCon about their glorious prison gameplay. And when they originally talked about prison gameplay, Prison Citizen, they also mentioned slavery, where you could get captured and sold into slavery, and then you would have to play your character getting out of slavery somehow. And everyone could do it.
Super exciting to me.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen.
7 years, 7 years a slave in Star Citizen. That sounds like
I could never.
Oh, daddy.
Oh no, I escaped again.
Yeah. It's a whole mini game. It's a new Moist Noodle mini game there. No, the problem with that though is I could see, this would happen in game. There would be people that would make VODs and stuff that would make that very socially blasé. That's why a lot of games stay away from slavery altogether. And I could, it would be bad. It would be really. I mean,
bad. It's a staple in space games though, because like there was the slavery in Elite, the slavery in other games as well.
In EVE Online, there's an entire a whole faction of people it's built on slavery because it's a whole hierarchy like that with the oligarchy.
So we know it's going to exist, but that's especially these days, it's going to be so taboo that it'd be difficult to figure that out. I think reality is going to be like that comedy of errors where like the guy who's asleep and the pirates take over, they're just not going to know what to do with him because they're either going to have to kill him or just like not bother with him. Yeah. And he's going to wake up and he's going to end up being that like ex-commando that's just going to kill them all one by one because they woke him up from his nap sort of thing. Rather than like that's what's going to play out rather than the capture him and throw him into like an arc where you throw him down a big pit and just keep force feeding him stuff.
Yeah, they never really liked the idea of letting you fully role play slavery. It's like even in games it's mentioned in lore or it's very meta outside the game. They don't let you go down that path usually to let that happen. I would think.
No, imagine looking at the squadron tray, the vertical slice. I imagine a lot of the time slaves will be transported in cryostasis, and they're just cargo.
Yes.
They're just an NPC asset cargo.
Yeah. That's why a lot of games deal with it.
And I think
we're never going to let it happen.
Yeah.
No, what's going to happen is if you get captured as like a criminal and you get sent to jail, is the same thing that's going to happen if someone's selling you into slavery. You just go into a cryopod, and suddenly your character blacks out and wakes up as if you had died.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be something like that.
I even question when it comes to the prison planet if they're going to get in a situation where they're going to allow people to opt out of it. It'd still take a major penalty. But, you know, like if they don't want to play the whole prison planet, do they take a death and lose some income, you know, or you can try to break out and not lose as many ass, you know what I mean?
I do like the idea of having the option of going to prison and trying to break out.
Yeah,
they talked about how you can just
pay a massive, a massive bung to the guards or bail effectively, or you know, something,
a bribe,
some financial penalty.
Yeah. But it's one of the things that I've also known from the games like what's it called? Altus Life and the life mods from Arma, which is that a lot of them have jails, where if you break the law, they'll put you in the jail, and it's just a timer where you have to stay in there for a certain amount of time. But a lot of, like in real life, a lot of criminals do go to jail and then become better criminals. So it could also be a legitimate gameplay option for players who want to increase their reputation with certain criminal factions as well. So there's an option.
I'd love it if there were some people you could only trade with within a prison. So you have to literally get arrested to go and find that person to trade with.
I want the gameplay to even go to where there's like factions and gangs, you know, like inside the prison, like you can buddy up with one group or another. You could essentially, if you become a career criminal,
have the right tattoo.
If you become a career criminal, you could literally play that prison gameplay because it's a prison planet. Essentially, right? I mean, it's a whole big station there, quarterdeck and everything. I would assume that you would be able to play that gameplay perpetually if you wanted to. If you create more crimes inside prison, you get a longer sentence. You could stay in there. If you break out, you could smuggle stuff in the prison, maybe purposely get caught, try to bring, you know, like drugs or weapons in there. I mean, all sorts of stuff. That would be a whole snowball effect that they could do. Obviously not short term, but people that are career criminals, maybe that's how they get criminal rep. To make deals with other criminals, you have to. If you were never in the gang and quarterdeck, these faction of people, even out in space, will never even trust or
will not trust you.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about it is that it has a real life parallel in terms of sim, and that the thing if in reality, especially in the United States, you want to become a better criminal, go to jail. If you go to jail, you get more contacts with other people who are better at it than you are, and they'll teach you and take you under their wing.
Yep,
that's how most criminals become professional criminals.
Saying in chat there, it's like go to space prison, join the OMC. You know what I mean? So like, there's great parallels there. So I think that'd be awesome.
Oh, what a fantastic mission to have to go and assassinate someone in prison.
Oh yeah, it'd be crazy. Or even be.
Hang on, let me just get my toothbrush, sharpen it off.
Or think about this. You could make it a dual mission. You could have one. Some players go there with missions to become criminals and try to get in and get rep and stuff like that. And maybe you could be an undercover officer, like you're really a good guy, but they put you in prison like every movie we've seen where you're that guy. And if you get found out, you're done, but you're like trying to work the system and there could be so many cool gameplay elements just from that one little piece there. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So
and this question was about from moving planet to planet.
I see how snowballs here. Moving planet to planet. But Dan is an inspiration, so that's why. You know,
just to bring it up, it's been mentioned several times in chat. 3.3 has been
live.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's super excited, and I think we're going to be playing that, aren't we? After this.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you are not new to this and you have the PTU, you can copy all of the Star Citizen folders, I think, from the PTU folder into the Star Citizen Live folder. Correct. And all you have to do is verify the files, and you don't have to download the whole patch.
And you'll just be able to upload. Yeah, my Octane's been screaming because I keep both builds on there because I'm lazy. So I do. It's like, no, it's too full.
I have run out of SSD space in my gaming machine, so I need to have a good jolly clear out.
Good news that SSDs are super cheap. I'm about to buy another 2 terabytes worth of SSDs.
Yeah, I need to buy another one.
More and more. Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of gameplay that's going to snowball from depending on how they address this stuff. And basically Dan's official answer, where he didn't go as nearly as in depth or right wing like we did, he said that they don't want to allow just people to automatically do stuff. Other than that, they are trying to develop systems to where you'll be able to move around, but you're not going to be able to just push a button and get from one planet to another, specifically what he said. So I'm very surprised going to say that. Go ahead.
Can I just bring up something Toy just said in chat? I quit buying other games and just buy more ships. So I was playing the Fallout 76 beta last night, and my reaction as I was running across the map is this it?
Yeah.
It's very small.
I'll tell you.
I'm just so used to the maps on Star Citizen.
Star Citizen ruins more games than anything else in the world, because you like play it and you're like, even though Star Citizen may still be in its infancy as far as development goes for the great scope of what it's going to be, but when you run across like the cool desert planets or the moons or anything like that, and then you go play a game like, oh well, that was cute. You know, it's like this. How quaint! How quaint is this? You know, it's like you know, that's why when Battlefield drops and stuff like that, if it's not multiplayer for me to have fun with my friends, I'll play a story game and I'm like, oh, well, that was okay. That's a week worth of gameplay at tops, and then I'm back in SC. You know, so it does ruin a lot of games.
I did buy 76, and I did beta test it too. Nothing is bugging me more about that game than the fact that in 2018. You're still zoning into a freaking building. How? Every time I go to a building and I have to load inside a damn building, it makes me want to uninstall.
It doesn't even have ultra-wide support or 4K support until after it's been released.
Well, the freaking frame rate is tied. The physics engine's tied to the frame rate.
Yes.
That's the tricks that devs would do in like the early 2000s. This is 2020.
To be fair, Bethesda's not an expert in multiplayer games anyway, right? And this is essentially Fallout 4.
Employ people who are.
You could not really expect this to be more than a multiplayer Fallout 4. So any of the tech you got there, that's all it is. And that really is. It's really Fallout 4 with just multiplayer. That's it. So it's going to be fun to play with your friends and stuff like that. But I don't see a long-term play for that for me. It's going to be something I'll play with some of
for a week.
Yeah, maybe, and that's with friends. I have several people go, "Hey, are you gonna? I should buy this maybe," and I'm like, "Are you gonna play with other people?" And if they tell me no, I'm like, "Just go play Fallout 4.
Don't buy it.
Go play Fallout 4. You can get Fallout 4 super cheap, and you'll have more fun because they have more immersive NPC story and 4 than this.
I will argue this. I think Bethesda, because they want to use this as a long-term moneymaker, they will keep this game up to date, and they'll try to fix a lot of the problems. And by this time next year, it should be a fantastic, if not playable, like a good.
I don't think it will be
Fallout multiplayer.
I've had quite a few people mention about the potential of hackers with Fallout 76, and I think it'll generally be an issue, and I think it will be the thing that probably kills Fallout 76, because there have been plenty of other games who have developers who have tried to address hacking in their games and failed, and it's the thing that has killed the game, because I'm not going to play a game that somebody else is playing where they can just.
Yeah, but I'm thinking things like I'm thinking things like personal servers, which they said they're going to bring out in like a year or two, and modding support, which they'll bring out in a year or two.
That's what will save that game right there.
That will save the game. That's what's going to come out in 2 or 3 years. Is like when you see
that's what they're using to hack. Is that modding support that's built in?
But once you have a private server with your friends and you can RP in it or do something of that nature,
whitelist it, you're not going to have that problem. I'm seeing what saved GTA 5 in terms of longevity will save Fallout 76 if they bring it in. That's it.
And it's the other thing with that is how much money and how much time they continue to develop it, what they learn from this, because really they're just using this as a test bed for other games because they want to break into multiplayer. They want to break into a lot of the stuff, not only with Fallout, but with some of their other titles that they're working on.
Starfield, maybe?
Well, Starfield's only going to be single player. I think they're just trying to get the space genre down before they worry about multiplayer.
Well, I would honestly think that they're going to try to put some. This is probably a test for them to try to put some multiplayer into Starfield to see if they can do
co-op would be good. I just don't see them going full multiplayer on Starfield because I think it's going to be out before they master multiplayer on this at all. So we'll see. I mean, do you see
Starfield
taking more than 2 more years, 2-3 years? I think that
just to swing it back to Star Citizen, I think any AAA example of private servers with modding is great for Star Citizen.
Yeah,
because it just shows CIG what they should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you see CIG adapt a lot of their stuff to what they see happens in other games, right? Like, oh, that's, you'll see they'll make their version of something, but it's not quite. They don't commit. In other words, they kind of keep it above board, and they try to keep things to where it's like, I don't want to go down that path. That looks like a big mistake, and you can tell that with the way they talk and what they do. It's like. I'm still shocked they haven't made, if they touch Star Marine anymore in the next 12 to 24 months, I'd be shocked if they didn't make some sort of Battle Royale mode in it.
I'd love to see
Star Citizen.
Because the thing is, with Star Marine and Arena Commander, they're supposed to be games or training simulators within the game, right? Mm-hmm. So I do genuinely love the idea of the actual game modes in Star Marine.
I don't think it's going to be super long because they did hire that new team that's supposed to specifically be working.
I was going to say, and they actually are still, because we met some of them at CitizenCon. The guys who were doing the new flight model is that new team that they're trying to help with that. As far as I could tell, that's the case. And I think Mitt and I are both in agreement on this one, which is like, yes, they need to. That is such a powerful second source of revenue if they got that up and running as a free-to-play game, or as it standalone games on their own.
And the thing is, because the system works the way it does within their engine, and people are like, well, Star Marine doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. Star Marine is still, it's fun, and I like it, and I like it as a module, and I want to remain a game within the game and all that. Mm-hmm. We see these same issues that we have in Star Marine translated in the PU, and people are like, they don't see that because they haven't played in a 50-man fight. Those same bugs and stuff are present when you get that many people in a confined space together inside the PU. So it's still a great representation of what happens. You get the same gun glitches, the jams, all the problems that we have in Star Marine still occur in the PU as well. You just don't see them as often because we're not in gunfights with each other all the time because we have so much space to play. You don't ever have that. But as we get more FPS AI online, they will be present. And if they continue to not ignore Star Marine, but not really address the issues, like, and continually tell the community, yes, we are iterating on this. Yes, we are doing it. The same issues that are already there are just going to keep cropping up inside the PU. Because
it's really interesting because in terms of FPS AI, I think I cannot wait for more FPS AI when we get Hurston. Because we only have Korea as an example right now. And something that I've been saying for a long time is a lot of people have been saying, oh, I'm going to be this in Star Citizen, I'm going to be that in Star Citizen. And I've always said, you might think now what you want to do, but what you actually end up doing will be something different. And the thing that has really shocked me is that I always thought that I'd be a salvager or a medic, something like that. Now we've had FPS AI. I have never had more fun in Star Citizen than being on foot in Korea fighting FPS AI. I genuinely think FPS might be my thing in Star Citizen.
I know. More people are coming to my side of the Force. It's perfect.
Well, see, my original idea of going to Star Citizen was that I was going to be a trader. And then outside of this whole, just this space bartend thing, that little thing, I realized that I have a talent for flying in really fast, really low, and only just beating the ship against the ground enough, a little bit. So I kind of want to do dropship like Luke piloting. Does.
Luke just
I don't crater it. I just bounce. I bounce it once or twice, and then come to a stop. Yeah. So
if anybody can find a cave, it's Luke.
That's it. He is a driller of ships. So he will definitely flush those in the ground. No, I think that I've always dreamt of. Everybody knows I call myself a ground and pounder because I like FPS. I've always loved that. But my dream inside Star Citizen, even from day one, because as an old school EVE Online guy, I love the big ships. But the problem with Eve was you could never walk around that ship. You could never be the crew. You wouldn't be on the bridge. You just had to visualize from the exterior. Star Citizen gives us that depth to where you can be the captain. You could be the bridge officer. You can be in there and run around and have kind of a Star Trek, Star Wars-y type experience inside these large vessels. And I want that. I want to be able to board. I want to be able to repel boarders and stuff. And so the FPS area and all those aspects of that are really what interests me. I never really had any aspiration of being a dogfighter. I can hold my own for about 5 seconds unless I fight somebody good, you know. And when you fight somebody good, you get Jolly or some of the other guys.
Oh, there's Jolly.
That's
just give up now.
Yeah, it's like just eject out now. Jolly's here. So yeah, I know, but you got to know where your strength is, and I think not only the strength, but just like my entertainment value to really appreciate like the whole game is to be on foot, and that's what I'm excited about.
Long term, once the game's actually released, though, I need things like Arena Commander and Star Marine to stay there because of Death of a Spaceman. Otherwise, I will never get good at it. Because I'll be too scared to go anywhere because I don't want to die. Do you know what I mean? There has to still be that. And if Star Citizen ever wants to go down esports line and have competitions, that's all going to be within Arena Commander and Star Marine.
Absolutely.
There's this little thing that Mitt and I do called the SE4. Little sly little input there. May have already started that process. Hopefully, we need better flight mechanics
and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
absolutely, and we still hope for the combined arms. It's like, to me, that's in our game mode, you know, where you have Arena Commander and Star Marine together in that small arena where you could practice things like boarding or ship-to-ship combat and stuff like that in a match-based game, you know, where, like they always talked about, capture the Idris, right, back in the day.
Yeah.
So those type of things would be really exciting to have in there. But
and they could very easily make it feel more game within a game. Like they could put more gamey graphics in it to really to separate the PU from the simulators.
When you kill somebody, you're already dissecting a million bits, right? You get blood, and then it's like the guy like does VR, like it's like the whole thing. So it's cool. I like it. I like it a lot.
Can we get when people die as Star Marine, can they just burst into like a load of coins? You get a SpaceBro challenge coins. Yay!
You get SpaceBro challenge coins, or you can get a different gun. It's called the party gun, where it makes streamers and confetti out of it.
Well, having the effects, you know, in the Squadron trailer, where where it's obviously that hollow recording of the guy dying, and it sort of catches up with the dead body. So they already have that kind of render to texture particle effect. There'd be no reason why when he kills someone in Star Marine, they just turn into that and explode. You know, an NPC or so, to make it feel like you're in a video game.
That's a good idea.
Would be really cool.
Yep, I agree. I think it'd be badass.
Although I like the Scott Pilgrim versus the World kind of death better.
That'd be epic.
I think we need to mention, otherwise people aren't going to stop saying it in chat. 3.3 is now live.
Yeah, that's it. Let's just stop the show. We're done. We're gonna go.
No, it's not live until we've finished.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. So that's why nobody can watch, because they're all downloading now. We're all stuck in poses like this. It's frozen. All right, let's move on. We'll do a quick around the verse little watch here mini thing. We'll just kind of talk about it.
I will say this around the verse was long, but it was mostly just what's going on with 3.3 and
we can sum that out. I did want to show people the cool commercial that Haz and the other guys did here in the beginning of that. So it's the Mustang ship commercial. Did a great job. The cinematography was really good. It was very solid. So if you guys haven't got to watch all this, we're not going to play it sound and all that stuff. But definitely.
So I get yelled at about it 50 times at this thing.
Why?
I guess what kind of made this thing the winner was, and it's hard to catch it, there's a lot of small captions, like one's up right now.
Amazing. They're so funny.
So yeah, if you read the small captions, they are really funny. So
yeah,
that's what makes the commercial.
It's also heavily inspired by actual like CIG commercials and their own end commercials for like actual cars and stuff in the United States. And a lot of them have those little silly captions, like done on a closed set,
course,
with professional drivers. Yeah,
I saw the Top Gun inspiration where you hit the brakes and let them fly right by. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
like, you know,
which is also a reference to the Hornet commercial.
Yep.
I love the
and
shot.
they're using VoIP on this
javelin.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
They got a few VoIP things in there too.
They do. There's some eyebrow raises and all that stuff. And like I was telling everybody else, when I saw the opening sequence here with Chris and Sandy, I knew it was going to be a very serious ATV because we saw the scarf present. It's always serious when Sandy
cracked
wears
open
the
the RSI cups.
Yep.
And he put his smart black t-shirt on.
That's right.
Yep.
Proper RSI, and the table is fully polished. You usually never see it that shiny.
I kind of want to ask, because you know JR and Moist have direct contact with Chris more than I do. How many black shirts does that man own?
I don't know.
I don't know that.
I feel like he owns a lot of the same one.
Chris, if you need a new wardrobe for your shirts, I know a great place that can manufacture your wardrobe.
To be honest, I'm actually quite surprised that the ATV set, they doesn't look like they're squashed in the corner of the room, because I think there's about half a chance that all 4 of the crates from CitizenCon are actually in the mocap studio where the
dragonfly and the crack it in.
That might be why we have this unique
LA
angle.
To be stored in the LA office. So
yeah. That might be the reason for this camera angle. It's different than all the others.
Yeah,
Maybe there's nothing to
light shot.
It might actually be.
Yeah, they're compressed in there. But no.
Yeah. No, but they did like a super long one of these just to try and mitigate, because I think they knew a lot of people would be up in arms about the female character models not going in when promised. Yeah. But I mean, we already knew our corp was going to get pushed. I mean, it was just one of those things that we knew was coming. I don't know why anybody was even pretending to be surprised about it.
There's no way they could do it justice with their schedule. You know what I mean? What they would put out would have to be so iterated on at this point that it would be nothing more than maybe the glimpse of what we saw. They really want to present something that's going to wow us beyond what our sneak peek was of ArcCorp, I think.
Yeah.
What is causing the female character to take so long?
It's just so many animations.
All the animations.
And
I'm going to make the statement, and it's going to be a true unpopular
Chris
statement.
is watching you right now, Paul. So
I know.
He's watching you.
Okay, all right, Chris. Chris.
He's watching.
So the reality is CIG has not made female character models a priority, and they haven't made a priority. I don't know why. There could be some very bad interpretations as to why they don't make female character models priority, and there could be just some it's not a priority while they still make priority of things like VoIP and character customization, but still not the female character models. And the longer it takes them for not making a priority, the longer it's going to take them to, the more animations they have to do, the more corrections they have to do, and it just becomes a catch-up party, which is what essentially we've been seeing.
But here's the thing.
I totally understand.
I don't think it's not a priority. I think it's more of a case of it's probably one person working on it.
It was supposed to come out in 2.6.3. It was supposed to come out in 2.6.3 2 years ago, and it wasn't. And it's been 2 years since then.
But bear in mind that they haven't been able to work on a lot of stuff until they've had their workflows in place and all of the animation tech in place, and now they have that in place. They can actually start working on it. But it's probably
but they could have. They could have.
Think how many ships they have. Like the female model is like, what is it, 5'6", 5'8", compared to 6'3" that the Marine is. So you have to sit the woman in the seat, make sure the arms are in the right place, make sure the axe is in the right place, make sure the legs are in the right place.
There's a couple other issues too. Like, okay, so I'm gonna have an other side of the ball, unpopular opinion. The female character model isn't a priority, and I don't care. So that's the honest truth.
But see, this is the thing. They're not even done working on the skeletal model for the male.
Yeah,
you know,
still reworking the male.
Like they keep saying, until they get the male model down pat, there's no even need to work on a female model, because then that just doubles the amount of stuff they got to do every single time.
They could have been developing it alongside the male and female. Most companies do when they're working on the games. They work on both of them together.
They should have, would have, could have. But now at this point of the deal, the problem they have is they've gone so far. They're not happy with the male. So every time Chris or anybody else says, "Oh, we need to adjust this with the animations," which they still need to, right? They're still working on male animations. Then they have to make a female composite, and they've built this up so much that they cannot drop an incomplete female model. It has to be perfect, and they keep on screwing themselves.
It's just not. It's not physically possible. Essentially, what we're going to get with 3.4 is 3.3 with some more shit in it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's the same. We're not. The 3.4 is a chip patch. There's maybe some small improvements, but it's a hot patch for 3.3.
But if they drop the female model right now, it would walk and talk and act exactly like a male. And nobody would be happy with that. It wouldn't have any of the feminine qualities that everybody is expecting with the female character model. And that's why they didn't do it. If they would have made they should have made a almost gender neutral type model to begin with. It could have been a man, it could have been a woman. I wouldn't have cared. And just not worried about it and work through the whole thing and then go from there.
I can parrot HD Vertigo and say you could have just put them did the male model and put boobs on it like most Unreal games do. It'd be fine.
But they promised too much, Paul. They promised too much 2 years ago with it. That's what they did. They promised here, and Chris won't deliver something here when he's talked about it being like this already, because they've given so many reasons why it was delayed. At this point, oh, it's not perfect. It doesn't walk right. It didn't, we weren't happy with it, so we delayed it. Once they made that statement, once Sean Tracy and everybody said, "Hey, we're not happy with it. We want it to be perfect," they can do nothing less than deliver something that's wholly different, moves, talks, and walks different. That you can't do it. There's nothing they can do about it. They've put themselves in a hole with it.
Here's the only problem with this whole as well is that now that they've pushed pretty much everything that was too difficult to do in the 3.3 branch, that's in game dev, but it's not in 3.3 branch. For those of you guys who don't know, CIG is constantly making the game in what they call the game dev branch.
Yeah.
And when they spin up a server for us, a version for us, they actually have to break it away from game dev, and that's a separate version that we play.
Yep.
So the game that is going to be Star Citizen is already got tons of different things that we don't even have in the game.
Right, correct.
Everything that's in Squadron 42, all of the character animations, there's tons of things that are in the game dev.
But like they said, they can't just port stuff out of game dev, right? They can't just pick and choose.
In many ways,
stuff.
It's in many ways there's just giant things which if they just put it into its own port that it didn't have connections to something else, it couldn't function because that if that one part is not in yet, then
So where do they go from here with the female character model? What would each of you think the advice, if you were going to tell Chris, pull him aside and tell him what their plan of action should be moving forward on the female character model, what would it be?
Chris, just put the boobs on the Marine.
I think it's interesting talking to, I don't know whether any of you guys got a chance to have a good chat with the mocap people that were at CitizenCon. Because the last that was doing the mocap there has been working with the project pretty much since the start of mocap. So she's been working on the female animations pretty much from day one. So from an animation point of view, I don't think they're lacking data. It just must be the skeletal system and all the other stuff.
Even when they're lacking data, they've already said like Sandy has dressed up and in the nice dots and done filler stuff. So it's super quick for them to, well, not super quick because they explained to us at the Austin studio that they very often have to like put the entire rig back together and shit like that, like in the middle of desks. They can.
We saw the tape on the floor, right? Like where they had the. Sometimes it's right here in the middle of all these cubes. Good luck.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Germany has a temporary mocap room. So does Wimslow. I don't think Wimslow does anymore because they've got too many.
LA has just outside Wilmslow that is the mocap studio. Yeah.
And then LA, the studio that they shoot everything in for Reverse the Verse and Around the Verse, where Disco lives in terms of
that's currently full of
stuff. That's their mocap studio. So
cool. So that's why the female model isn't coming out, because it's full of our crates, so they can't finish the last 3 animations.
Sorry. Here's my opinion on what they have to do to get the female character model done. They have to, first off, stop making animations for a temporary period of time for the male. They have to stop. You have to hit some point where it's like, hey, put this on pause. And that's what they're not doing. So every time they make a new animation for the male, it's like the female animations have to be trying to play catch up. If they're still generating, because we like at CitizenCon, they're making new emotes, right? We're making all new emotes for all the stuff to do, and they're mocapping it live there. And you know they're rigging all those for the male, and then they still have to figure out how to do that with female, and then they have to figure out how to do it in the seat with the female and everything else. And they're still not done with the full model to scale it right in the ships. This is the same reason they didn't want to add fat people to Star Citizen, because it doesn't fit in the ships. It didn't, and it was their honest answer. They didn't want to add different size bodies. They had everything modeled after the 6-foot size male that was built a certain way. And so the minute they had females, they're like, oh, well, she needs to be 5'8". I would have been like, everybody's just 6 foot tall. Why does she have to be 5'8"? It's because they want it to be more representative and perfect.
I don't want to be that guy.
Well, I'm just saying. That's
I don't want everyone the same size.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, it's these little concessions they'd have to make to do it.
Yeah.
And then they just want to go back and redo it because it's not right. But the first thing they have to do is stop making more male animations and let the female ones catch up, get all those done, because presumably they're using the same team members. If they come back and say, well, we had to hire a female character artist specifically, I'm like, I'm going to call bullshit, because most of their character artists, I'm looking at you, Jay Lee, are fully capable of doing both, like both in concept and in the air stuff, of probably making both male and female.
I'll have you know that Jay Lee has spent a lot of time and effort researching boobs.
Yep. He did such a great job on the tattoos. I
That's
trust
so
him.
bad and love it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I trust that.
No, so I agree, Matachi. Essentially, what they need is they need to make it a priority. That was my point of saying it's not a priority. And one of the problems with it not being a priority is that MMOs are often are almost always in studies some of the higher participating or higher gender diverse games, because you often have something like 30 to 40% of women, or of responders in polls about MMOs. 30%, 40% of the people who are responding about MMOs are women. So there are a larger, which is much larger than any of the other games. There's other larger games, of course, but the idea is that there's a lot of women who are waiting for representation and they don't see it. And MMOs are all about fashion. Like, let's be honest, we all have our own idea of a character we want to play.
We have to admit, when it comes to Star Citizen or any other MMO, I challenge anybody to show me where more women are playing women characters than men are playing women characters. It will always be more men will be playing women characters.
Well, perhaps that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for perfect jiggle physics.
Yes.
Other games, I would argue, have had really good jiggle physics. And I still haven't heard about a disproportionate number of women jumping in going, oh, there's jiggle physics. I think I'll hop in this game immediately and start playing it and then drown out all the males. I don't see it happening.
Hey, Matachi, Scum just added a dong slider.
Well, there you go.
I'm in.
My point is, and Firefly in chat said how the Old Republic is actually one of those things that totally skews the terms for MMOs, because the Old Republic has a massive population of women in it in terms of a game sphere, and it's also the thing that skews sci-fi games. Sci-fi games are much more gender diverse because of the Old Republic, because the Old Republic makes up such a huge portion of it. And the reason why I think it's important is that this is not me talking. This is me reiterating people like Miss Hartz and other women who are who've streamed in the past.
That huge population of women in Star Citizen, yeah, I get it.
Well, there's a lot of women who come and go, especially streamers.
My wife personally won't play this game until there's female models in it. They don't.
Yeah, I know Smashley's waiting for the female character model. There's lots of people who would be much more willing to play and come back if there's a female character model. And to them, Star Citizen not making female character models a priority says that they're not a priority, that they themselves are not priority to CIG.
I still believe,
and I think that needs to change.
I still believe CIG does make the female character model as much a priority as the male. My argument is, because female character models are being developed and the males are continuing to make more animation, you're never going to see them catch up until they stop on the male. That's the first thing I would do, because I think they're prioritizing both, but you don't see that because they keep creating more crap for the male. So the female model will never catch up, and Chris will never want to deliver it because it won't be on par to where he wants it. The second thing they need to do is take it off the effing schedule until it's done, because they hose themselves like a half dozen times now because they keep putting it on the schedule and they're like, oh, we push it. If I have to hear about them pushing the model one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. Just don't put it on there and then just go, surprise, it's done, and everybody will rejoice. They'll be happy and it'll be great. If they do those two things,
it's got to come out with Squadron, surely. It's got to.
That's
it
what I'm
has
saying.
to come out with Squadron.
I would be shocked if what they should do, stop on the male animations for right now, unless they need them for Squadron for some reason, but then they'll have to delay Squadron to get the female ones up to par.
I imagine if that's all that we're waiting for.
JR, can we make a physical 3D female model to send to Chris with the plaque saying congratulations on the release of female models?
Oh my gosh! And the torpedoes are away. No, but if they stop, if they pause on the male, if they let the female one catch up, and then not put it on the schedule, hard point, and then they just drop it in our laps in 6 months, I think they'd be caught up in 6 months. I think what's delaying it is the fact they keep producing more crap for the guy.
They do, and I do have to say that comment, that Moist, I don't think there's a burn ward on Lorville, so...
Yeah, but I really believe with all the drama and all the other stuff that they have the same amount of effort and work working on the female that they do the male. The problem with that, again, is they'll never catch up. So I don't like it, and no offense, Paul, I don't like it when people say they aren't prioritizing the female. I think they're just giving equal prioritization to one, and that's what they're doing wrong, because visually to us, it makes it look like they're not getting stuff done on the female. And that's why
they're not. I don't think they're prioritizing it at all. And I think the reason it shows because they've said that they would have the female character model in 263. That was when they said they were going to they thought they were going to have the character model in 2 years ago. That was February of 2016, I think, if I remember correctly.
But just because they didn't prioritize it then doesn't mean they're not prioritizing it now. It was supposed to be in the patch. They may have prioritizing it.
Yeah, they may have been prioritizing it recently, but this sends the signal that they're not. I'm not saying that they are or not. Definitively, I'm just saying the way it looks, it doesn't look as good as it should be. Now, the way they explain it, which is essentially 3.4 is not 3.4, 3.4 is 3.3 with some ships thrown in and some fixes, and they've updated the roadmap so you can see it. Essentially, this is what it is. There's some changes they've made, but mostly it's what we have in 3.3 and 3.5 plus ships, and armor and weapons. So
yeah, and I don't know. I don't know how much manpower they put on the male character. I don't know how that works. I don't know if they have a single artist doing it, and then they had to find somebody that would add the nice little touches to the female, or if it's the same people that are working both ways. I don't know internally, so I can't in good conscience saying they're not prioritizing it. It definitely doesn't appear that it does from the outside. You're right on that, Paul. But they might have 2 times more character artists on the female than the male right now. We have no idea. But the problem is when they deliver and talk about, hey, we're adding these new animations, or hey, we're adding new emotes, and hey, we're doing all this, and they might have a male and female person mocapping down there. We're not seeing the result on the outside, so that's why they're always going to get the salt. So I would take the whole thing off the schedule for right now. And
that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But this is the thing with the female characters. The longer it takes, the better it's going to look anyway. So let it take a long time. Because everything they take their time doing, it always ends up looking better.
Yeah.
And the other thing is now that it's been pushed to 3.5, you have the brand new character tiers system. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the DNA system that they're putting in. So it's going to look great. The female character models are going to look twice as good in 3.5 than they would have looked in 3.4.
Everything in the game looks better when it comes later. I mean, the Carrack is going to be amazing. For all the bitching about people talking about the Carrack side, that's going to be, I promise you, it's going to be like the most amazing ship. Look how good the Hammerhead looked. I mean,
can I give you a little bit of insider information? The character's actually finished, but they're not going to release it until Disco leaves. It's in his contract. He had it put in his contract that they're not allowed to release the character until he leaves.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
You're careful saying that in here. You're actually going to see a thread pop up in like 2 minutes. I heard it from an inside employee of your company, official doc. It's gonna happen. So.
Trust me, if Disco could release the character, I think he would, because that would half his workload as far as emails go. I think.
Yeah. I just love how you automatically went to say release the Kraken.
Yes.
All of us
burnt into our soul.
Yep. Real quick before we move on, I did want to say to Chuck BC, thank you for the $10 donation too. Really appreciate it because we're trying to shout out everybody's throwing a little cash here for the StackUp program. So thank you, buddy. We're already up to $120, and we haven't done anything except sit there and talk about the game. That's really good.
Thank you guys for supporting StackUp, dude. It means a lot. I mean, like right now, as a whole, we have raised almost $1,300 as of the whole team has.
Crushing it.
So
nice. Good job, guys. All right. I like this picture. I kind of don't want to take it off you right now, Paul. I like Chris.
Replace it with the Picard one.
We could.
Oh yes.
This, I love this one, so I can just sit here and go.
Yeah, you can make googly eyes on him. Yeah, I think that's the Picard one. I think it's there. We go.
The Picard one is.
There we go. There you go. Now Paul has become Picard. So it's perfect.
I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's so good. It's really good. All right. Let's move on. So basically, outside the female character, what else got pushed, guys? I mean, we did ArcCorp, right?
The 300i, the 300 series got pushed.
So and the flight model.
Yes, the flight model was like the big other thing for people that aren't interested.
The big
yeah.
Now Christian CIG did say,
Adam, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, appreciate it, Adam. We're supposed to activate somebody else. That way, it's like more people in chat.
Sorry.
All right, go ahead.
Christian did say that. Christian did say that on a stream that the new flight model is in game dev. So like they've already brought it over to game dev. So that's the reason why it's not in 3.4, because nothing that's in game dev now is going to make it into the new 3.4.
Absolutely.
So
yeah. But he didn't iterate what it's
flight testing that's going to require for every ship in atmosphere to get it right.
Yeah, just because it's in game dev doesn't mean what state it's in game dev, right? It's like, it's in there, but like that's
cannot wait to see Luke flying a hammerhead down to a moon or a planet.
I question the fact you used the word flying, because I think that's not going to be involved. I think it's going to be screaming, panic, and like falling.
He falls with style, okay? The view falls with style and grace and the dignity of a dying moose, okay? That is how he flies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A dying star, to keep it in context.
Yes.
So what is left? What is seriously left though for
they updated they did update the roadmap, so it's all on the roadmap right now. So let me pull it up. What they have is one mission giver who is Ian Levsky.
Yes.
No, not Levsky. He's in Hearst. The guy we saw in the SitCon demo, Clovis. Yeah. So we have him. Then
Pants apparently, because you have Hearst and clothes.
Shipjack. Oh, that's Shipjacker armor is in 3.4. So we're getting the Shipjacker armor. We're getting
Firefly $50. Thank you so much. It's awesome.
We have the Lorville Business District, so we'll have all of Lorville ready to go, or most of it. We'll have ship item rental, so you can rent like guns or equipment that you can use in the universe rather than having to buy them.
Yep.
Patrol mission improvements, VoIP and VoIP improvements, player interaction improvements,
no fly zones, whatever.
Mining improvements, scramble races, retrieval, quantum improvements, and then FPS stealth and locomotion improvements. The Anvil Hawk, the 600i touring mode, the Freelancer Max, Dur, Miss, and the core improvements. There's no max.
You know the no-fly zones? I really hope the no-fly zones are just a load of blokes on the ground going, no!
Just like crowds of people. What are you doing?
The no-fly zone, when you fly into the no-fly zone, instead of it's all it is just a little icon appears in the top right corner that has like a fly with a little cross through it. Like, you don't have flies in this zone.
Yeah, you shouldn't be here.
No, that's just over the city.
Other than that, it's just it's VoIP procedural stuff. It's all polished for 3.3 is what you see in here, and then there's the new character model or the new
iteration on the OCS, obviously.
Oh, and it's not Clovis who we're getting. We're getting Wallace Kim, who is
any relation to Harry Kim?
Oh, because they actually said Clovis.
Sorry. And he's actually in Levski too.
3.5.
Yeah.
3.3.
So we actually have no new mission givers on in 3.4. It's just Wallace on Hearst, I should say. It's just Wallace who's also on Levski. So now there's 3 mission givers on Levski.
Which, to be honest, I'm not very excited about mission givers because they said we're not going to gain new types of missions. They're just iterative missions of what we already have.
Mm-hmm.
So.
To be honest, as long as the freelancer variants are in it, that is the most important thing in the patch. Let's be honest.
Yes, I need my max.
Yeah, as a massive MISC and freelancer fan, that is honestly all I care about. So as long as I haven't pushed that, I'm good.
Nobody cares, John. No. Nobody cares.
Not really.
I care, John. I care.
I think it'll be neat to see the touring
Astro
model.
and Rick care. We all want our max.
Yes. we want Guinness and Max. That's all we want. Okay, CIG. We're simple men.
I'm actually even more interested on what the Reliant core improvements are going to be because that thing flies like a piece of crap.
Still will fly like a piece of crap.
It will, and then they're going to change the flight model on top of it. So I'm like,
oh no! The hilarious thing with that is when you're in atmosphere with a new flight model and accidentally switch modes, it's just going to fall like a knife.
Fall straight down. Stick around.
It's going to be hilarious.
I think it would be interesting if they have an atmospheric mode rather than a landing mode, so that when you're in atmosphere, you can switch it to an atmospheric mode, so it'll fly like a delta rather than flying.
Well, no, but they always said that wasn't going to be tied to the landing mode anyway. That mode was going to be a completely separate thing anyway. So you can change the orientation of the blade, but if you go into landing mode, it'll automatically go into the other blade. So yeah.
Well, that would make sense if that was some of the improvements. Also, they have to increase the cargo. It has to get the British treatment, which is what I'm calling it now, which is just it has to get bigger. It has to get bigger. Yeah.
It has to have everything that's British is bigger, obviously.
Yes. They say everything's bigger in Texas, but holy shit, does it get big in Manchester? Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot there that I'm super excited about for the end of the year. There's some cool stuff they're iterating on, but the one thing they could add that would make it really cool is if they increased the player count.
Yes, I will argue, Mitt. I think what I think would be a win is if by the end of the year they have stable, non-crashy, super polished gameplay for 3.4. If that was their goal, is just to make the gameplay not as buggy as it is in 3.3 right now, that would be better because more people would be willing to play it, and it would start getting more of a population than just people popping on saying, "Oh, this game's great, but it's got bugs." Bye,
Yeah, I could see that. I don't know.
Could be worse. It could be Fallout 76.
I don't know. They need some spice in here somewhere, and something like increased player count or something would be cool. I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah.
But ending in 3.4 is they're not really expanding the solar system anymore, so it would be interesting to see if they could bump up the player counts, because until we get bumped up player counts, you're not going to see a lot of the ship's vehicles or mechanics come online for certain larger vessels at all.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't for 3.3, but I suspect they didn't in 3.3 because of server limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, stabilization, I'm sure too. They want to make sure we're already crashing. You throw in there 25 or 30 people in there, or 50 people even.
Well, we can't see what like the CPU performance is or the RAM performance is of the servers. I would assume it's quite high.
Might they be waiting for server side OCS?
Yeah, they need server side OCS.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't expect it
as well. Will be the big thing.
They didn't expect 3.3 to be as smooth as it was either, and it's like
That's true. I know Chris still set a goal for trying to get up to 100 people by the end of the year. I don't think he'll hit it. I hope he did.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will. But things like that would make it much more. I don't know. I guess more interesting for us, because as we keep expanding the solar system, you're going to have harder and harder, unless we organize it, like we do, obviously. You're going to see less and less people, right? Because we don't have active NPCs running missions yet or ferrying through the universe. There are active NPCs that are kind of placeholders in these stations, but it's going to become more and more void and feel more and more empty, which to certain aspects cool. But at the same time, I'm still looking forward to those bustling trade hubs at some point, or something where it seems like a flurry of activity. It doesn't have to be all players, but even NPCs as the AI becomes more and more online and stuff like that. That's what
they've got to manage to get them to get on a train first.
Yeah, get on a train, or just fly a ship from one station to another. On the list.
Well, I would love, because there's these missions in game right now where you're supposed to go for not personal missions, but the public missions. You're supposed to go recover a box that had been stolen by pirates in a certain abandoned base. Those kind of missions and like the derelict missions scream FPS. So having even a 3.4, they just expanded the FPS missions to the moons of Crusader and of Hurston. I would be so happy. That would be so nice, because having in Korea is nice, but having diversity and also being like, oh wait, that's actually a AI mission.
I really hope I'm bombing through across Hurston in a cyclone, and I just find one random NPC just wandering around.
Well, no, but as a trader, I would love to see them just drop some random FPS onto the moons into just outposts. I don't always go to an outpost. Without having to have to fight my way in or out or something like that. I think that would surely be a relatively easy thing to throw in to spice up cargo.
Yeah.
Well,
just like you're in a holding pattern waiting to land because some other NPC's taking off the pad with cargo and stuff like that. Just some sort of life or activity like that would be cool.
With them thrown in the Valkyrie too, we're finally starting to get a use for gunships. I mean, with those defensive turrets on Hurston at that one mission, finally starting to get used for dropships and gunships. So I'm looking forward to a lot more of that.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to translate into, defending our own bases or even like little towns and stuff. I know it's just for the one mission that takes you underneath into the mine, but I mean, that's our start of actual ground.
Yeah, those are actually in game sort of right now. They're in the stations. Those defense turrets, they just aren't indestructible right now.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Shout out to Captain Richard too. Thank you for popping in the chat there, man.
Woo, Captain Richard.
One of our favorite captains in the whole verse. So awesome, buddy.
My favorite Richard. My favorite Dick.
Yep.
Captain Richard Picard.
Oh, why do I say these things?
We should make a Captain Richard Picard. That would be a good one too. That'd be great.
Yeah. He could be Riker. He's got the beard. He can be Riker.
Could be Riker. But you could do a whole family photo of like different sources.
Number two.
But can Captain Richard do the Riker maneuver? That's the question.
Oh yeah.
The stepping backwards over the chair to sit down.
As long as he continually steps backwards over the chairs, perfect.
Yeah.
Do it perfectly. That would be great. Yeah, so they went on to talk a little bit about cloud tech. I don't think we really need to.
It looks amazing.
It does look. Well, we'll show it a little bit. It does look pretty.
Well, the best part about it is it looks good and it saves on performance.
Yes,
this is what they've been saying. So like 75% performance of the previous stuff.
watching some old sci-fi. I'd love to actually go through sci-fi films and try and work out where Star Citizen's Cloud Tech actually sits in movie special effects history, because it is getting pretty close to where we are now. Let's be honest. You don't have to look back far to go. Star Citizen's better than that.
Yeah, well, we talked about Rat-Con, how my dream was to bring a ship out of a nebula, and those clouds and that look nothing even close to like what it is now. It's like somebody with a smoke machine, like barely puffing out with a toy model coming out. You're like,
There is a scene in one of the new Star Trek movies, I think, where the Enterprise comes up and the fog or the clouds roll off and it just looks amazing.
Yep. Absolutely. And I hope we get that type of effect in there. I want to see the actual like dense enough nebulas. I mean, obviously there'll be thin ones too, but you want to see it react to the hull, right? Like where it's not just there. It's like it actually pushes around and wraps and gives some sort of form. Would be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. All of that for two reasons. One, it looks epic, and two, it means that it'll never go to console.
Yep. I'm
okay
all
with good
this.
for things that prevent consoles ever getting this game.
Yeah, I don't think it ever will. I could see maybe porting a module there. Like you could port do like a module there.
And Arena Commander, definitely.
Yeah, a little gateway drug for the console players.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, look what you could do if you have a real machine. It'd be amazing.
You play the demo of Star Marine, and then right on PS1, right at the end, it's just like, if you'd like to continue, please buy a $3,000 PC.
And a link to the RSI page where you can buy it.
Absolutely.
By the way,
you could get a
look at
PC case for your PC as well.
That's amazing. It looks really cool.
It's like a little Kraken, right?
I know. Oh, let's see. So, again, Cloud Tech's really cool. Like it a lot. We're going to start jumping into... I don't know if we have any questions tonight. If you guys want to ask any of the cast any questions for tonight's show, all you have to do is type !questions in chat or follow one of the links in there, and it'll take you over to the document. You can put that in there. But in the meantime, we're going to go around the room. We're going to find out when everybody's going to be streaming next, where you can find them at, all that stuff. And then we'll dip into some questions, if there are any. So, and then immediately after this cast, me and Paul and anybody else that wants to play, we're going to be playing some Star Citizen. So,
and we're raising money for StackUp.
Absolutely.
It's 7 Days of Valor is the organization. It's a group that we're not organization. A group of Star Citizen content creators and Star Citizen community that I put together to try to help do this fundraiser for StackUp. So please do give, if you give it a chance to, or just tell your friends, tell the people we're doing it, tell your org mates, your squadron leaders, whatever you like, all the folks that you hanging out with in game. Just say, hey, check this out. So this is the
absolutely
stuff for.
As of right now, we've already raised $1,175. The next,
we've raised $1,355.
I'm sorry, I haven't refreshed.
Yeah.
$1,355. Sorry, but
we started at like midnight last night, so this morning. So we're not even fully through day one, and we're already past our first goal.
Absolutely.
So,
and we are gonna have multiple goals, I assume, if we crush this one. We're gonna keep pushing because the more support you can give the troops, the better off.
I have this little dealio, which you may or may not recognize, that I'm going to be giving away if we reach a certain goal as well. So,
nice.
So,
I've been holding on that for a bit.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. That's a good one, for sure. All right, let's start out with Moist. When are you going to be streaming next, and where can people find you at? All that good stuff. Why don't you tell everybody?
I'm going to be streaming every day this week, supporting StackUp. So I'll be streaming every morning from 8:30 a.m. GMT. I will be playing Star Citizen in the mornings. I'm actually playing through Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch at the moment. But I'll also be streaming from 5:30 p.m. GMT every day as well, playing Star Citizen 3.3 all week. So yeah, that'll be awesome.
Sweet. All right. Toy, how about you?
Well, hopefully, if not late tonight, like my normal late late night schedule. Definitely tomorrow if I can get my stream machine working here. So
get the jumper cables.
After this, pretty much. It's kind
of
an
percussive maintenance. Hit it with a wrench. That'll fix it. It fixes two machines, right?
Yeah. I think it failed because you didn't have it in one of JR's cases back there, like what he's got back there. If you would have had it in that case, it would have been perfect.
It works so much better in those cases.
Absolutely.
It adds like 100% extra.
Yeah, it's like
power.
Go Faster.
But Go Faster strokes.
Absolutely. And Paul, how about you? We know we're going to be streaming after this, but what's the rest of your weekend schedule in the beginning of the week look like?
So I am doing lots of the podcast circuit. I'm going to be on the relay station tomorrow, and of course we've got the captain's table tomorrow as well. And so I'm going to be going from like 1:30 CDT or CST now. So 2 Eastern till about like probably midnight on various different podcasts, and I'll probably be on the base's Sunday night show. So I'll be there on Sunday, and then on Monday and Tuesday I'll be streaming Star Citizen to support StackUp. My normal times, which is 10 p.m. Or 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, and then on Thursday and Friday, I kind of go an hour earlier at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, and again for StackUp all the way up till Friday. So we're doing this. I'm going to stream as much as I can to help support the StackUp and the 7 Days of Valor and stuff like that. So please do. Nice. And to those who are wondering, I am going to be giving on the last day, depending on how much we raise, certain goal, I will be giving away this Saber Raven code that I have for that fundraising. So we'll see.
Awesome opossum. All right, as far as the questions go, I think we only got one. I think we've answered everybody so much that like one whole question for the entire show, and we'll get that answered, and we'll get this wrapped up, and we'll get this stream temporarily stopped. We'll start it right back up. We'll come back. We are going to do a gift card giveaway if you guys stick around too for Star Citizen as well. So please tune back into that, and then we'll get the co-streams, multi-streams up, and all that. It's from Firefly is the question, and he says, do you think that 3.5 is now over ambitious with what they hope to do in a single patch? If yes, what do you think will get bumped out of 3.5? So,
right. Looking at 3.5.
Yep.
I think everything that was supposed to be in 3.4 will be in 3.5 because they're closer to completing that. Salvage and service beacon escort. That's not going to make it in 3.5. That's my say.
You think they'll get bumped?
Yeah, okay. I think those are the two big things will get bumped.
Yeah,
the weapons and other
stuff right, actually.
So
P. Gill's like, no.
Stuff will definitely get bumped. Whenever we've seen previous patches be bumped before, stuff in the patch that was supposed to be always gets bumped. So.
Shall I also say female character model?
Oh,
it's gonna get bumped.
I do think that they'll make this female character model.
I don't think they can afford not to, but we've said that every time.
Not to. Yeah.
They've said that every time. Like they can't afford not to in 3.3. Oh,
I would
keep on doing.
I would hope that CIG has been prioritizing it. So it's not. It's that whole 6-month hope of getting it done means that they've been working on it, and now the only reason why I didn't make it in on time is because of A, time constraints, and B, the time it takes to move game dev over into a new branch. So
yeah.
That's
I can see that. All right.
Yeah, I think salvage.
salvage is toast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait and see. I think that they're gonna have some other things pop up. They will get done, and they've done this in the past couple builds, and we'll see a couple things sneak in. Maybe not major things, but we'll see some stuff sneak up as well as major features. A couple maybe get pushed back like salvage, but I think they'll surprise us with something.
Something I'm going to say now, though, is I suspect that 3.5 might be quite a buggy patch as well, because if you actually take a look, there's quite a lot of core tech in there. You've got the new flight model, you've got parallel network jobs, you've got a lobby refactor as well, gas cloud tech.
Mm-hmm. By the way, the lobby refactor is one of their kind of code words for their first implementation of, not first implementation, but part of the what am I blanking on it? The stitching together of servers.
Server meshing?
The server meshing.
meshing.
Yeah. It's the first step of server meshing.
It's preliminary server meshing, obviously. Yeah. Get it all done.
It's just how you get sorted into servers is what that is. So,
awesome.
They've talked about it before.
Well, guys, we've had a great show. I thank everybody for being here. It's been awesome. We actually started on time, and we're finishing on time. Take a picture. This has never happened on the SpaceBro show. JR is welcome to be on any time. Yeah, first time ever.
This is the first time for me, I think. I've been on the SpaceBro show and not been finishing at 9 a.m.
Yep. So I think it's all because JR's here, so he'll have to come on every episode.
Absolutely.
So we start on time and execute. So just book us anytime from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. and we'll get you taken care of every time. So it'll be perfect. All right. But thank you seriously for coming on. That's awesome.
We asked what myself, Toy, and Astro were doing this week. How about you, JR? What are you doing this week?
I can't say.
Can't say. Okay.
That's why I kind of glossed over him. I'm like, anything he's doing, usually he couldn't really say.
I can't say.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Actually. But no, it's good stuff that you may or may not find out about eventually.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for being on. Toy, thanks for struggling through and patching your stuff together and getting it up and getting on there. And, of course, Paul, thank you for coming on and organizing this awesome event. I think it's going to be magnificent, probably one of the best ones we've ever had as far as charity work goes. So we'll just keep on doing it.
Yeah. Thank you for participating, and thank all you guys who are donating and just spreading the word. Just spreading the word to be nice. And I'm going to put this in chat again because I really... this is done by Haskaha and music by Utho. Haskaha and Damn Shames did the cinematography and everything. Yeah, so there we go.
It's really already good.
Posted. Am I muted?
No.
You're good.
No.
You're good.
Okay.
Yep. Watch it.
So
love it. Feed it. He's not getting a time back because he's a sub. He's smart. It's perfect.
Oh, smart.
He's smarty pants. Smarty pants. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you for being here. We're going to get out of here. We love your faces, and we'll be right back. We're going to go off the air for just a moment, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. And watch Matachi download it probably for a while other people play, I guess. No, we got the bandwidth. We'll get it done quick. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Peace out.
Good night.
See you later.
Bye.